Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spirit Speaker KC podcast. I am psychic medium Jamie Collins. And today, I thought I'd speak a little bit about how to be what I call a good sitter during a mediumship or psychic intuitive session. So, first of all, just kind of get terminology out of the way. What is a sitter? What do I mean by a sitter? And quite simply, it is the person receiving the reading. So you will hear people talk about the sitter, the recipient, the client. But really, if I say sitter, it just means you, the one that is receiving the session. And the reason I thought about this today is because we have, you'd be surprised during a reading how often the sitter comes in with their own preconceived notion about what a session is going to look like. First of all, you have to remember sometimes it's someone's first time ever sitting with a medium or sitting with a psychic. And so they are not sure what to expect. And so most mediums will have their little spiel that they give about what's going to happen during a session. And so I thought today I'd kind of go over what makes a good sitter, what how you should prepare if maybe it's your first time ever having a reading. So again, sitter just means you're the one receiving it. Right off the bat, it's pretty simple. Myself, and I believe most mediums, most psychics, that I truly want my sitter, my client, to say yes, no, or I don't know. When I give information, I really want you to just simply say, yes, I understand the information. No, I don't understand the information, or I don't know. And what I've always told myself and what I teach my students is I like a couple of I don't knows. I really like for my client to say, I don't know. Maybe on the drive home, it will come to them. Maybe they have to speak with a family member or friend about the session. And then they find out some information, validating information, information that was good. And you say, well, why do you like that? And that is again part of that. It proves we're communicating, it proves we're connecting with those that have crossed over. If you give information that the sitter didn't know about and then they find about out about it later, it kind of validates for you like, wow, okay, well, maybe this is real. Maybe they really are speaking to my loved one across the veil that's crossed over. So I generally tell my clients, look, all I want to hear is yes, no, or I don't know. I have heard some mediums say that they will accept uh, a maybe or kind of. So the medium gives the sitter some information, and the client will go, maybe, or kind of. For me, I take that kind of or maybe as I'm along, maybe I'm on the right track, but more information is needed. It's not necessarily a no, even though in my own eyes, if I get a maybe or a kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking that's a no. I've got to do a better job as the medium because I don't want a maybe or a kind of. So a lot of times, even when I'm practicing or developing my mediumship, not in a paid session, if I get a maybe or a kind of, I'll look at it as a no, as a no. But other times, I do understand why some people, mediums, will allow a maybe or a kind of, because it tells you, hey, You may be on the right track, just more information is needed. More specific information is needed. Maybe you're in a session and you've gotten, someone had a dog. You tell the sitter, I'm aware of a white poodle. I'm becoming aware of a white poodle, and I know that you've lost a white dog, a white poodle. And the sitter may go, no, well, kind of. I kind of know what you're talking about. I then look at it as my job to get more specific information around that white dog, that white poodle. And so it might be one of those situations where, no, you didn't have a white poodle, but would you know of someone in the spirit world who had a white poodle? Maybe it's that. Maybe the sitter didn't have the white poodle, but maybe someone else in the spirit world had the white poodle. So again, generally speaking, I don't like maybes or kind ofs, and if I do accept them, it's me being more stringent with myself, that I want to get more information, because I really like yes, nos, or I don't knows. And another thing that I really believe in, the yes, no, or I don't know, just kind of some of those tidbits for you folks. And I'm I'm li- I'm talking to folks who maybe have never had a reading before, and I just want you to some things maybe that you shouldn't do. Okay, so again, when you come in as a sitter and you've never had a reading before, you're excited. I've had clients tell me they're excited. I've had clients tell me that they're nervous. They have no idea what to expect. Maybe all they know about mediumship is from TV, where there's lots of editing and things that have happened, and they're getting that answer right on the bat, and they haven't seen the whole session. So they're going on what they've seen on TV, or maybe a friend or someone they know have had a reading, but really they're going in blind. They don't know what to expect from this session. So one of the things, as I've kind of just talked about, sitters, let me tell you, don't give the medium anything except a yes, no, or maybe. Don't fill in extra information. Don't do it. I know it's easy to do that and you will want to do it. It may be a situation where, as the medium, I'm saying, I'm becoming aware of a gentleman in spirit, and I believe this is your dad. And I know that this gentleman, who I believe is your dad, had ALS. Would you understand that? And then the sitter, in their excitement, goes, no, my dad's not in spirit, and my dad doesn't have ALS, but I have an uncle in spirit, and he had MS. Again, that's too much information. Why is that too much information? I tell sitters all the time, you never want to plant a seed in the medium's mind, because then it starts growing in the medium's mind and we can't shake it at times. So this goes back to, remember what I've talked about originally: yes, no, or I don't know. So in that scenario that I just gave, your dad, he's in spirit, he has ALS, just simply say no, no. And then the medium has to work that out. But it's, you get excited and you kind of, in a way, are you don't ever want the medium to feel like they're fishing, or they got that information from you, so now they're going to use that. Just simply say no. And that's for the medium then to work out, well, if it isn't dad that I'm feeling who has ALS, would you understand an uncle in spirit that had ALS? No. Would you understand your best friend who had MS? So again, you get the idea of don't give the medium more information. And sometimes new sitters will do that. They have a tendency to want to give the medium more information. And what the sitter should know, that the medium should have explained, or most likely have explained, is that we will have an opportunity at the end of the session to go over the whole reading. In my sessions, no matter how long they are, whether it's a 30-minute or a 50-minute session, I always save time at the end of the session for us to go back and talk about the reading, talk about different things. So it's very simple. I know it seems simple. So that's just one of the things I say: to be a good sitter, don't do that. Simply give the sitter yes, no, or I don't know. Facial expressions. I know sometimes this can happen as well. You'll raise an eyebrow, you'll scrunch your eyebrows, you'll shake your head, you'll put your hands up, or you'll give away what we call these nonverbal clues. And sometimes for a medium, that can be distracting as well. So, uh, again, and I know it's not intentional, please believe me, I don't want my sitters sitting there. I want you to, I want you to be expressive if things make sense, and an occasional nod of the head or a smile. Those things are okay, but you don't have to sit there like a robot. So I'm really not saying that either, that I just want you to be a robot. Basically, what I'm saying is don't give the medium information. And this has happened, and it's really funny. Um, Sometimes I will get sitters who sit there all stoic. They don't crack a smile, they don't raise an eyebrow, they don't do anything. And if you're a beginning medium or a newbie in discovering your mediumship, that can throw you off as a medium, because you will begin to think, oh man, I'm not getting anything right. I'm not getting any reaction from the sitter. Oh gosh, I've got all this wrong. And then question themselves about this. So, again, as that sitter, I don't want you to sit there all stoic, not give a smile or a tear roll down your face or anything like that. But think about your medium a little bit. Think about your medium. Give them a little feedback. One of the things I always tell clients as well, I really, really like a verbal response from you, even more so than a shake of the head. It doesn't mean you can't shake your head sometime, like yes or shoulder. I like that voice. That I think is also important is just to remember, it's okay to have facial expressions. I'm not saying you can't have facial expressions. People laugh, people cry in a session. I hope as a medium I am, if I'm doing my job, I'm giving you things that will make you have emotions, that will make you smile or make you cry, those memories of your loved one. So don't be stoic. Don't be afraid to show emotion. I'd much rather my sitter show emotion than to give me information verbally. No, that's not this loved one, it's that loved one. So I just want to make sure that I make that clear. I'm not wanting you not to say anything. And as I said, I love to hear your voice. And I think most mediums like that. I love to hear your voice. That helps me get into your vibration, your energy. So I love that. And really, it's quite simple. That with being a sitter, it's really that simple. Just saying yes, no, and I don't know. Now, sometimes also with sitters, I get asked a lot of times, what do you do about difficult sitters? And what do I mean by difficult sitters? I have, not often, but it does happen when I will get a skeptic or someone who's not really a believer in mediumship, or that one can talk to their loved ones who have transitioned. So I do get people who are skeptic, or they'll come to a reading because they had a friend or loved one who had it done, and they want to see it done. But let's say they're a skeptic and they really don't believe in it. I've talked about in previous videos, I believe my first or second episode, that it's really not my job to change your mind about whether those across the veil can speak with us. That's not my job. I really believe it's one of those things that you have to experience for yourself. But I don't also expect everyone who comes to see me to believe. That's okay. I think skepticism, having a healthy dose of skepticism, is a good thing. I'm skeptical about certain things. So I'm not saying that everyone who comes to see me believes, but I would say this: be open. If you're going to sit across from me, if you're going to take the time, and let's face it, you've spent the money, I would hope you'd come in with an open mind. So you may not be a believer, and hopefully, by the time you leave the session, if I haven't made you a believer, which is okay if I haven't, um, I hope I've let you leave the session and it gives you something to ponder, something to think about. But I have had on occasion, what happens beside the skeptic, if I get someone and I'm giving information, I'm giving the reading, and they go, no. Do you understand that? No. And I give more information. Would that make sense to you? No. And then I'm also feeling this. And I know that you would remember that. Would you remember that? No. Well, what happens for me, first of all, if I've gotten a client and I'm getting a bunch of no's, I'm going to reassess what I've done as the medium. I might start back at the beginning just a little bit. We haven't gone too far. And I'll say, okay, you know a woman who blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give the information over again. And if they say no, I'm going to reassess going over that. But if I'm pretty confident in the information that I'm getting, and the sitter is constantly saying no, I will give a session no more than 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes, I may stretch it to 15, but even in my book, that's too long. But if I've been giving you a reading for 10 minutes and everything I've gotten from you is a no, I'm going to stop the session. Point blank. I'm not going to spend time. I'm not going to waste your time, your money, my time, my effort in a bunch of no's. And it's not about ego either. I'm a big believer. It's not about ego. This tells me that either this isn't the time, the place for the reading, the day for the reading, for whatever reason. The energy may be off. Um, Maybe I'm not the medium for you, because I'm definitely one of those believers that I'm not the medium for everyone. I'm not. And that's why I say I don't let ego really play a big part for me. If I refer you to my doctor, if I refer you to my dentist or whatever, and I go, I've got the best doctor in the world, you're going to love him. And then you go to my doctor and it's not a match, that's okay. So but if I'm giving a reading and I'm getting a bunch of no's, after about 10 minutes, I'm going to end the session. And I will give you the opportunity to either you get a partial refund, depending, a refund or a reschedule. It's up to you. That's what I do if I get a skeptic, a non-believer, or heck, let's say someone's a believer. They really believe in this and they're really open to this and they're excited about the session. And we give a reading and all I'm getting are no's. I would say, "Hey, let's stop this after 10 minutes." I'd say, "Hey, let's do this again. Let's reschedule if you're open to it." And if you're not open to it, I'll happily refund you the cost of your session. Now, that doesn't happen very often. In my career of almost 10 years of doing this, I've given a refund back, I think, like maybe 2 times, 3 times. And 2 of those times, the refund was given back because, and it was only a partial refund, I'll have to be honest about this, is because the person that came through, the sitter, did not want to hear from. And most mediums, I'd like to let all sitters know, even though you may know this, and most mediums know this, we don't control who comes through in a session. That's I'm very open. I do center-led mediumship, meaning that I allow those from the spirit world to step forward, and whoever comes through, that's who has the greatest need to come through. So 2 of those 3 that got refunded their money back, loved ones came through that they didn't want to hear from. I very specifically remember one woman, her father came through and she wanted absolutely nothing to do with her father. I don't want to hear from him, she said. I don't want to hear anything that he has to say. And I said, ma'am, you have to understand, I can't control that. He's here. If he's coming through, I know that he has a need. There's a reason he's coming through. She goes, I get that, Jamie. I just don't care. And so if you're not able to switch it up or bring someone else through, we'll have to end the session. And we ended the session. That's not what she wanted. I can't control it. Now, I guess I could have, excuse me, I guess I could have tried to get someone else, but, and in fact, I'm sure I did, but I wasn't able at that time to get someone. And I teach my students this, and I truly believe this. Those that come through are the ones who have the greatest need. That's why they're there. And this woman did not want to hear from her dad. So she was refunded her money. So that doesn't happen a lot because I'm a big believer that, generally speaking, those that we want to hear from generally are the ones who come through. But as a sitter, a client, don't expect that. I always say, come in with an open mind. Come with an open mind. So how do I handle negative clients or clients who have certain expectations? It's really quite simple. I would just end the session and move on and refund them their money. And if they're open, refer them to someone else. I know other mediums, and so if they want to hear, if they want to try it and try it with someone different, absolutely no problem with that. Ego, don't have ego with that. I'm a big time believer that no medium is the medium for everyone. just like no mechanic is the mechanic for everyone, no doctor is a doctor for everyone. We all have a certain criteria for certain things, and so that's how I deal with those that are negative or not getting what they want or what they expect from a reading. So if you ever go to a reading as a sitter, and I just say, please be open. Just try it, and please be open. And it really doesn't happen as often as you think it does. I really believe if the medium is upfront in their little 1 minute to 3 minute opening statement about what a session is, what it's going to consist of. If they're very open and plain about that at the beginning, there generally isn't any pushback. So mediums out there, developing mediums out there, when you're giving your intro, your spiel at the beginning, just be very honest about what it is, how you give that session, what they can expect, and go from there. And if you run into a client that is stubborn, uh, skeptical again is not that big a deal, but someone who's really going to push back or be negative. And I think negative maybe is a bad word, bad rap. I don't maybe mean negative, but I say that just in case you do run across those that are negative. They don't believe in this, or that's just crazy, or I don't believe that, or this is silly. I'd be like, well, why'd you sit down here? Or why'd you pay your money for this? First of all, I'm sure you could find better things to do with your money. But it's really one of those things that I have to say that I haven't run across too often is negativity. Generally speaking, what I've run across more than a negative person is just simply someone who doesn't want to hear from the person that has come through. And with that, may use your own discretion. I simply say we're after about 10 minutes, we're going to end it and I offer a refund. I hope this has helped a little bit about being a sitter. It may be a long talk about really not feeding the medium, just simply saying yes or no. Don't plant ideas into the medium's head, because once you plant things into our head, um, um, I don't know, it just kind of colors, the information or what we're getting. So if I'm doing a reading with you and I'm describing your dad, and it's not dad, it's not really sounding like I have your dad, don't just blurt out, nope, that's not my dad, that's my husband, you're talking about my husband, oh my gosh. Don't do that. Just simply say no. Simply say yes, because a good medium is going to follow the yeses and the nos. That's really all we're doing, is following the yeses or nos as we're connecting to those in spirit. I hope that helped all you the folks out there, beginning mediums, about what a good sitter looks like, and really you can nip this in the bud at the beginning by giving them in your short talk at the beginning. And for all you that are going to be sitters or want to inquire about readings and go get a reading, just be okay with the emotion. We love the emotion. Just really don't talk. Just stick to the yes, no, and I don't know. Um, and then I think you'll have a very, very memorable, exciting experience. Don't forget to follow me here, Spirit Speaker KC, on my YouTube channel. Please check out my website. If you're ever interested in a class or development or a reading, please check out my website. And I thank you for joining me. And I thought I'd throw this in here as well. If you ever have any clients, or I'm sorry, um, not clients, any topics or anything that you would like to hear about, please let me know. I'm always open to that. It won't always be about mediumship. I hope to have interviews and different topics. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the next go round. And say hi to your loved ones because they really are closer than you think.